everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your Franchising 101 podcast host, coming to you from a temporary studio today. Thanks for the group at FranCoach here in suburban Tampa, Florida, for letting me steal in a little studio time. It's really freaking cool in there, so I might have to come back. But I want to talk to you today. We actually have from time to time people that will actually listen to this and will send in suggestions of things we need to talk about. And we had somebody that sent in a couple things all kind of tied together. And it was all really around the kind of the negative side, right? Are there bad franchises? Why are people going to fail? All of this stuff. So I think it's a fantastic thing to talk about because we always talk about the positives. Let's talk about what can cause some negatives, right? So before I jump into that, quick review. Again, who's FranCoach? We are a national search firm dedicated to working with individuals like yourself interested in owning a franchise. We're partnered with well over 600 of the top franchisors in the country, spanning nearly 70 industries. Our goal is to help you find the absolute best franchise to own. And the goal of the podcast is to simply get you properly educated on all things franchising. Okay. I'm sure there's a way to turn this off, but one thing that you guys can't see is there's a TV screen and it's got sharks and dolphins swimming around. So every now and then I think I'm going to see I'm Discovery Channel, Shark Week. There's going to be a big thing going on. So I'm trying to ignore that as best I can. So why is somebody gonna fail as a franchise owner? So we really want to talk about two sides of this. Why is somebody gonna fail as a franchise owner? And number two, are there bad franchises out there? So let's tackle that one first. No. I mean, well, probably a few, none that we are partnered with, right? And so usually how you can tell is if they're really not making you do anything in the process to prove yourself, if there's a couple steps and here you go, here's the franchise agreement, check your pulse, can you pay the franchise fee? I'm not saying that can't be a fit for somebody, but that would give me a great deal of pause and would be a franchise probably I'd really consider not having in our inventory, right? So there's no oh my gosh, this is the best franchise or this is the best industry. Kind of the same thing can be said on reverse. Okay. So then why would somebody fail? Right. And I think, and as we talk to our clients going through this process, right, of starting to vet the franchises, again, you guys have heard me say this a bunch. When we get people connected to franchises, it's a 6 to 8 week journey. It's going to have anywhere from 10 to 15 different steps along the way. And there are, in many cases with folks, there will be a point towards the end where you're like, man, this all sounds really good. We've started with 3 or 4. We've whittled it down. We're kind of down to this last one. Oh my gosh, what's the catch? What's going on? Is this the right thing? What have I failed? It all sounds too good to be true. So why is somebody going to fail? It is super stinking simple. If you're not going to follow the plan, it ain't going well, folks, right? I cannot stress that enough. If you are going to become a franchise owner and not follow the plan, please, for the love of everything, do not become a franchise owner. Really, it is that simple. Number two, follow the plan, number one. Number two, put forth the effort. If you are jumping into the business full-time, well, what's full-time look like? 40 hours. Hey, maybe you're an overachiever and you put in 45, right? It's not the badge of honor bull crap that people say in the corporate world. Oh, I'm working 98 hours. No, you're not. You're either lying or you're really bad at your job that's making you put that much effort, or you don't like anybody in your house and you don't want to go home. Okay. This is normal hard work. If you're a semi-absentee owner and that franchise needs 12 to 15 hours a week, are you genuinely putting in that time? Okay. Then from there is a little you got to kind of want to and be comfortable. We just did a podcast not too long, FSO, right? You got to figure stuff out. You have to want to figure stuff out. You want to be that person that is in charge, right? So, but really the main, follow the plan, put forth the effort. So how is it that easy, right? Well, the trick is finding what is the best franchise plan and system for you to follow. If you are terrible at sales, you don't even like talking to people, let alone trying to sell them on something. And then you end up in a franchise. So like, man, it sounded really good when they were saying it, but you got to go do B2B sales and you have to go hunt and find every one of your customers. You're like, but man, it sounded good when I was talking to the franchise and I talked to owners and they're so super happy. They're making a crap ton of money. Oh my gosh, sign me up. But you forgot the part where you're no good at what you have to do for that franchise. It's not, even if you're following the plan and you're putting forth the effort, it's not going to go well. Okay. So it's finding that fit. That's kind of our rules to make sure you're finding the best fit for you to own. But that's the trick to this. Hey everyone, I am proud to spotlight one of our premier franchise partners, Moran Family of Brands. Moran is a family of brands in the automotive aftermarket segment, with offerings including Mr. Transmission, Milex Complete Auto Care, and Turbo 10. These are great brands on their own, but they offer owners the unique opportunity to co-brand, which is basically giving you two franchises under the same roof. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Maybe you're not really a car person, so you're not sure if you could own this. Well, guess what? Moran Brands, they're not looking for mechanics. They're looking for business owners who understand this is an industry that is never going away and is constantly evolving. Now you might be saying, well, geez, what about the hybrids and the EVs? And I'm going to tell you, Milex and Mr. Transmission have been franchising since I was in college. And believe me, folks, that is a long time ago. They have evolved from catalytic converters to the tech-savvy cars of today and will continue to adapt for decades to come. Now, if all that's not enough, Moran Family Brands is truly a family-based franchise system. From their leadership team to their franchise owners, some of whom are second and even third generation owners, the culture of family first is embodied in everything they do. If this sounds like it might be a great fit for you, then get in touch with us today to learn more about becoming a Moran Family Brands franchise owner so that you can create your better tomorrow. Hey everyone, I wanted to take a quick break from our podcast to tell you about our amazing friends at Entrepreneur. If you're looking to become a franchisee or simply learn more about business ownership, and guys, let's be honest, you're listening to the Franchising 101 podcast, so we know you have some interest in this. And I really encourage you to go to entrepreneur.com to check out all of their great content and resources. Seriously, Entrepreneur has everything, all the way from a bookstore to the best podcasts, webinars, and videos, plus information on upcoming events and the latest articles that seriously, they cover all aspects of franchising and business ownership. If you're having trouble deciding which franchise is right for you, start with Entrepreneur's renowned Franchise 500 ranking, which highlights the best franchises of 2022. For 45 years and counting now, Entrepreneur has been and continues to be the most widely recognized and respected authority in the franchise market. Digital and print subscriptions are available, so you never miss out on anything. So seriously, what are you waiting for? Go to entrepreneur.com right now and learn more. You'll see statistics somewhere, and this is probably about a year or so old. But after 5 years, they are roughly 90% of franchise businesses still open and operating. Okay. So, well, does that mean 10% failed? Well, let's talk about failure. What does that look like? So just because a business is no longer open within that first 5 years, does that mean it failed? Well, maybe it sure could, right? But there are a handful of other things that can pop up. Maybe the business was going great for 3 years and somebody came in there and said, hey, we'd like to buy that from you. Okay, sign me up, right? We had, unfortunately, a few years ago, a client of ours, like, he passed away, right? So and the family decided not to keep the business, so it closed. Well, it's not a failure. That's just sad. That's life, right? From that standpoint. My wife and I owned a franchise. We owned a couple, really two of them, but one of them in particular, we sold both of them within 5 years. One of them, there became a conflict of interest with her new job, and another one we had no intention of selling, and literally somebody basically just kind of virtually knocked on our door and said, I really am interested in this franchise. It's not available here. It's all sold out. Would you be interested in selling? Well, let me help you folks. That's a really easy answer. Yes, I'm going to be interested. Somebody knocks on my door and asks me if I'm interested in selling my house. I'm going to say, sure, what you got? Right. You make me that Godfather offer and like, you can have everything in the house, including the kid. Right. Same thing with franchising. So just because things don't make it that full 5 years doesn't mean it is a failure. So again, could it be a failure? Absolutely. And I'll give you a great example of a situation here recently. We ran across with one of our franchisors, was kind of telling a story of somebody that was a franchise owner. Roundabout, they were complaining, right? This sucks. I want out. Just everything was negative, right? So, well, let's go to the franchisor because clearly it is their fault. Well, this particular owner had and well documented 6 different calls with their business coach. Most franchises are going to have a coach for you in addition to all of the training. 6 consecutive calls with their coach, no show, 6 times, right? There are some peer groups that they do, right? Missed 3 out of 4 over a span, right? Like, how hard is this person really trying? They were supposed to hire for a position. They didn't hire for it. They're supposed to be spending X amount of money on marketing. They're like half of that, right? Okay. Like, so that person really may close their doors and say that's a failure, but that's a pretty simple thing. We are not doing anything required, right? Again, it's like getting an F in school and you're like, that damn teacher sucks and they're screwing me over, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, you haven't been to class like more than twice this semester. You haven't turned anything in, and the one test you showed up for, you flunked, right? So whose fault really is that, right? So very similar type of things with franchising. And so when you think about that failure or that success rate with this, it is going to come down to every single time. It is going to come down to you. Are you putting forth the effort? Are you following the plan? And have you found the franchise that is a right fit? Are there people that find the franchise that's not the right fit for them? Unfortunately, that happens. It's not happening on our watch with our clients, but it does happen. People go on their own and they start looking at things and they don't know what's truly important to them in franchising. Are there people that find a fantastic fit for themselves, but don't put forth the effort? Miss 6 straight calls with their coach. Don't do this. Don't do that. Absolutely. Are there people that start the franchise and then just don't put forth the effort? Absolutely. I mean, I can't help stupid, because that's essentially what it really comes down to. Put forth the effort, follow the plan. We're going to help you find the best fit. If so, now you're going to have success. What does success look like to you? That could be different than the next person, right? So we've talked about this before where, the I don't want to buy a job, right? There's that stigma sometimes with some franchise models that it is buying a job. Well, you may say buying a job like that because that sounds negative to you. Well, guess what? The next person we talk to, that's amazing for them. That's exactly what they want. That's again, the control over their life. That's allowing them to be successful. For you, I don't want to buy a job. Well, what do you want? I want to grow this big empire, right? I want multiple units. I want to build something that I can, like, it could be this big, huge legacy thing for my kids or whatever. Okay, well, we're going to help you find a franchise that wants empire builders, that this is good with multiple units. Not everyone is, right? We may even look at something where we can look at how to grow your empire with multiple brands. Not every franchise is okay with that either. You can make it into whatever you want to be, right? But there is a point in time in the search that basically everybody is going to go, we're going to start to pucker, right? This is all sounding really good. What's the catch? What if I fail? Ask the question, right? Ask it of the franchisor. I'm going to have to maybe even ask a franchise owner. This all sounds amazing. Why would somebody fail? And they're going to say the same thing. Not following the plan, not putting forth the effort. Or again, if I use the extreme, hey, hey, you've got to be a hunter and get out and build those B2B relationships, right? And if you're like, man, that sounds awesome, I love doing that, right? And you kind of get a little bounce to you as you're hearing it and thinking about it, then you know you're on the right track. If you hear that and go, man, it all sounded great until you told me what I have to do, then that doesn't mean that's a bad franchise. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be a franchise owner. It means that's the bad and wrong fit, right? That's where it all comes down to. So it's okay, and not only okay, I think normal, and people should have that kind of that, like the what if, like the shit hits the fan, right? So what if I fail? Let's understand what it would call, what's going to cause that, and see if we have alignment in what franchises that you're looking at and what's really important to you. From there, seriously, folks, it's just that easy. Put forth the effort and follow the dang plan, and you can make this into whatever you want. You want to buy a job? Great. You want to build an empire? Great. And anywhere in between, it's all there for you. That's the beauty of franchise ownership. That's what I wanted to kind of share with you today. If you have some other things that you want us to talk about, please fire them at us. FranCoach.net, franchising101podcast.net. And of course, if you are ready to learn more to figure out what is that best fit and take control over your life, create your better tomorrow, quit waiting around, folks. Reach out to us. We're excited to talk to you. As always, there's never, ever any fee for our service. We look forward to speaking with you, and thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much.